It's only been 2 months since Battlefield 2042 was revealed, but believe it or not, EA are actually talking about the next Battlefield game after this one. And this came from the Q1 earnings call that EA did a couple days ago. And it leads to some really interesting discussion, and usually these earnings calls have little snippets of information in about new games that EA are working on for investors. And they talked a little bit about future Battlefield games, but they also gave some really cool stats about BF 2042, little tease about Hazard Zone, Portal, a potential free-to-play portion of the game, and about how the live service is going to be. I didn't listen to this live because I thought, well, I mean, the game's already announced and this is just an audio call, so not going to be much there, but there's quite a lot of good stuff here. So we're going to dive in and take a look. Before we do that though, just a heads up, as I did with BF1 and BF4, BF5 is currently free on Prime Gaming. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can claim a key for an Origin version of the game for free. So if you've not played it, or again, your cat, your dog, your goldfish, your mom's goldfish, your mom's nan's goldfish's dad, they need a key, well, you can go get one for them, all right? So I've gone through the transcript and I've picked out the most interesting things, and there was a bit of an introduction about BF 2042. They said here, during Q1 we revealed the game and the energy and excitement from fans around the world has been incredible. Since the reveal on June 9th, our Battlefield trailers and content have cumulatively generated more than 210 million views to date across all channels. These record viewership levels contributed to BF 2042 being the most talked about title in the industry during a busy month of June, and created a record high sentiment among the Battlefield fan community. So EA and DICE pretty proud of the reveal so far, it would seem. Record viewership on their content channels, and most importantly their sentiment among the Battlefield community. I don't know how they've got a way of precisely measuring someone's sentiment or group sentiment. I suppose they could look at negative or positive comments. They may have tools for that, but generally speaking, I'd say my experience of seeing the reaction, it's been overwhelmingly positive for the game, and a lot of old fans have shown interest, and a lot of new people have also come along and gone, you know what, that looks pretty cool. More recently, we introduced Battlefield Portal, a new community-driven experience in BF 2042. This new pillar of the game puts the power in the hands of players to seamlessly create their own experiences from all the things they love in Battlefield, easily mixing and matching eras, maps, weapons, and unique gameplay scenarios that can then be shared with the community. It's an entirely new level of freedom in Battlefield, and fans have been very energized with the possibilities to create, discover, and share things that are completely new and unexpected. We're poised to deliver a truly next-gen Battlefield this holiday with unprecedented innovation, massive scale, and amazing gameplay, and we've got more to share about the game through the summer. At the moment, there's a countdown for the Exodus video. That's a 9-minute cinematic trailer, and every day they're doing updates on the Battlefield website of a journalist who is making their way through the story of BF 2042, and that's really useful for understanding the lore and narrative of the game. I don't particularly care about that kind of stuff. I'd rather see some gameplay, bit of Hazard Zone, but I know that there is a big part of the community that are invested in that kind of content. Gamescom Online though, coming up soon, could see some more there. Now then, onto the juicy bits in the Q&A section. So there was a question from Matthew Thornton, who is from Truist Securities, they're an analyst, and their question was somewhat related. I'm curious about your thoughts around Battlefield. Does that franchise still aspire to be in every other year release type of a cadence in a normal world? So I think what Matthew's referring to here is that previously that's how the release schedule for Battlefield has worked. Every other year, a new game would come out. And before we talk about this, let's look at what Andrew Wilson replied here. He's the CEO of Electronic Arts. Let me jump in on, do we think Battlefield will return to an every other year launch? I would say I think that is our orientation. But more importantly, I think you should think about Battlefield as a service that we announced. What we're doing for the launch of this game is really revolutionizing and reinventing what all our epic scale warfare is in the context of gameplay. In addition to that, we've heard us announce Battlefield Portal, which really starts to lean into user-generated content and will drive deep long-term engagement in the game. And while we've announced Hazard Zone is the name. We haven't disclosed a lot about what's going on there, and you'll hear more about that in the coming months. You should understand that this really forms the foundation for what we believe the future of a live service around Battlefield is, which over time will include a mobile launch, will include some free to anchor components, and really change the nature of what happens from launch to launch. And every other year launch probably makes sense as we think about it today. We're really focused on 365-day engagement in the franchise at a platform level across any device that consumers may want to play on. So there's a lot to unpack there. If BF 2042 releases this October and it's not delayed, at the moment EA are planning to release the next Battlefield game in 2023. And I imagine at this point they've already decided what it is. They've probably started concept work on it as well. But this surprises me because me personally, I thought that BF 2042, the way that it's been announced and everything with Portal and Hazard Zone and the emphasis on live service, I was thinking that this would be the kind of game that would be supported for more than 2 years, which is typical for this kind of thing, right? I thought in the region of maybe 4 to 5 years before we get a brand new Battlefield title, because the way they've set this up is the live service model. They've gone down the Fortnite, the Warzone route, where there's seasons and new maps, new content introduced throughout the year. And then if you think about what Portal brings to the table too, in respect to that and what Andrew said, the amount of community-made content could be infinite. If Ripple Effect Studios, who are working on Portal, start developing more new content for Portal, then that could just go on forever, hypothetically. I mean, it's a next-gen engine. Every time EA have talked about this game, they've said they've geared it up for next-gen. It's the latest version of the Frostbite engine. We know that. So it's not like the game is going to look bad in 4 to 5 years, if you get what I'm saying. It would still look like a next-gen title and probably have the capability to introduce all those next-gen features too. So this does surprise me a little bit. I don't know if everything that's said here is chiseled in a rock somewhere and permanent. Plans can change, and I wouldn't be surprised if BF 2042 is a massive success and there's a ton of content added to it for the next couple of years. Portal gets a ton of content to it. It could be supported for much longer than 2 years. And maybe if we look at 2023, releasing a new Battlefield game then, perhaps that just won't make sense at that time and place. We'll have to wait and see. In my head, I like the idea of DICE constantly adding stuff to the game, which can then be used in Portal. They could do World War II packs, they could do a BF4 pack, a 2142 pack, and just have this massive Battlefield game, which is just Battlefield. It's everything that keeps getting added to for years and years to come. I like the idea of that. Maybe Portal just splinters off and becomes its own thing, but from what Andrew is saying there, at the moment it seems like the plan is BF 2042 releases October this year. It's supported for a couple of years with live service, and then a new game, BF7, whatever you want to call it, releases fall 2023. Also, I didn't miss that comment there either. Free to anchor. It's a bit marketing speak, isn't it? But what I take from that is a portion of BF 2042 will be free to play. He said this right after he talked about Hazard Zone, so I'd hedge my bets that Hazard Zone will be a free to play component of the game in some capacity, and that will be a nice way for new players to try Battlefield who have perhaps never played it before, test it out, let them play, boost the playing numbers, and then maybe at some point down the road they go, okay, right, I want to experience the rest of the game. They purchase it and they're in. This makes sense in my opinion when you look at the competitors that BF 2042 has. They're going to want to attract Warzone players, Fortnite players, Apex players, and all of those games are free to play. BF 2042 has $60 for the standard version. So this would be a little tease for those free to play players who maybe want to try before they buy kind of thing. Let's just hope to God that the game's got decent anti-cheat if that's the case, because Hazard Zone could be ruined if it's free to play and there's just cheers everywhere. DICE, please. Unrelated to Battlefield, they did talk about Mass Effect and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and they said that we are continuing to invest in both of these franchises as well as more of our amazing IP. We know there's a new Mass Effect game coming already. Looks like it's got the original trilogy characters in it too, thank you very much. And Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, I mean, I absolutely loved the first game. If Respawn make a Jedi Fallen Order 2, I'm going to be over the moon, because I think that game just on its own is a great action adventure game, but as a Star Wars fan, it just makes it twice as good. So I would love to see more games in that franchise. And that's all. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How would you prefer Battlefield to go? Do you want it to be this longer 4 to 5 year live service model and it's just Battlefield from now on? Or do you prefer this model where every couple of years they're making a completely new game and it will have a 2-year live service and that's just how it's going to be? Let me know. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.